Hey there, friendlies, how's up? Welcome to another whiskey review here at Dribs Drams. This time we got an English single malt, and apparently it's quite smoky, so I'm very interested to find out what's happening inside this bottle. So, without much further ado, let's get this baby open, shall we? Safety first. Get the little faffy thing off and oh, good sound. Oh guys, don't ruin it. Let's just see. I'm gonna try not to over pour it this time. Okay, that's still pretty big, but it's not so bad. Okay, well that sucks. Sorry about the focus there, guys. What I'll do is I'll cut the sound to be much shorter and I'll show you this bottle while that plays and hope that you guys just think that I meant to do it that way. Okay, so this is called the English. This is the smoky version. Nice color. Well, first off the bat, because it's like -8 right now, what one would call Scotch mist is definitely there, but it's an English whiskey, so I don't know what to call it. Hold on, I'll show you. I don't know if it's that visible. I don't know if it's that visible on camera, guys, but I definitely see it. So let's nose it a little bit. So first I'm going to nose with my mouth closed, just to sort of get a first impression, like a handshake with the Scotch. Okay, I'm picking up on smoke. Not as if the peat bog is on fire that you might get with an Ardbeg or something, but there's definitely smoke there. Some oak, a little hint of spice, I guess. Something kind of gingery, gingerbready maybe. It's got a nice viscosity to it. It's got a nice color to it. Yeah, there's definitely mist there. That's the hallmark of a non-chill filtered whiskey. That I like to see. Okay, let's give it a tasty poo. Yeah, definitely the smoke is much larger than I was expecting. Again, we're not talking about a big old Ardbeg punch, but yeah, it's definitely a peat smoke. I was wondering if it was going to be a peat smoke or a wood smoke sort of thing like you get with some North American whiskeys, but it's definitely, there's a peat element that I find very familiar. It's very similar to a lot of my favorite Islay scotches, minus the saltwater note. There's still the iodine there. It's still phenolic in certain ways, but I don't get the oceanside note that I do with a lot of the more maritime distillers up north. There's a gingery spice. That vanilla note is still there. The oaky thing, a little bigger than on the nose. I'm looking for the gingerbread note that I got on the nose. Let me take another sip. It's there, but it's light. Definitely, there's a slight peppery note. I find that whiskeys from the British Isles at this point, well, I was going to say Scotches, but this is an English whiskey, and it's very, very Scotch-like. And so a lot of the notes can come across really, really similar. Because we're just talking about malted barley, right? So there are a lot of similarities. But they're notes that I like. So I'm happy that I'm finding them in these beverages. Man, you guys have to see this. If this doesn't show up on camera, I'm going to be very disappointed. Focus. Do you guys see that mist? Do you guys see that Scotch mist. Come on, guys. How could you not love that? I may not have the Manx Bothy, but I got the temperatures for it. That vanilla note is very, very nice. There's a charred thing happening. It's funny, it hits sort of at the back of the tongue. Like I get the peat smoke at the start, and then it sort of goes to a charred oak thing at the back. The finish is very nice. It's ashy. It's like the peat bog has caught fire and gone out. It's a wet, ashy kind of element that sort of trickles off into the background. It's very, very nice. I think we're gonna have to drop some water in this pour glass, so that's what I'm gonna do. All right, let's do it before my hands freeze. That was not a very good drop. Okay, there we go. Like there's a good drop, right? I don't know what that noise is. I know what that noise is. That's my daughter trying to get my attention. Okay. Still smoky. It's still like a wet after fire smokiness. No, don't taste it yet. Wow, I almost had it on my tongue. Still sweet. Still oaky, so not a lot has changed here. It's still a lot of the same stuff, but the spice is a whole lot bigger. The licorice is bigger though. I'm not a fan of aniseed or licorice or whatever you want to call it, wherever you may live. So I don't believe that was a massive improvement. The flavors have sort of come apart a little bit, whereas before it was a nice sort of unified character. The spice and the smoke and the licorice is sort of, and so they're all kind of fighting for my attention. So unfortunately, this means it's another one I'm going to take another couple of sips and clean the glass. Because it's not a more interesting taste when that happens, when like everything goes and each element tries to stake out its territory like that. It just seems kind of scattered. It's gone from a very nice malt, single malt, to kind of a, like there's something frantic happening now that I've dropped the water in. Yeah, I'm tasting it differently this time. Rather than chewing it, I just rolled it across my tongue. Same thing. The ashiness is still there. The smoke is bigger. That licorice thing, though, it became much more prominent with the water, and I'm not very happy about it. All right, that's over with. I'm trying to figure out what to give it. It's very good. The licorice thing puts me off a bit, though, so I'm going to call it a 7.5 on 10. I'm going to enjoy this bottle. Believe me, I'm going to get through it, and I'm going to be interested to see when I revisit it how having opened it and a little bit of oxidization has helped the bottle to bloom. I think that it's a nice start. I love the smoke. I love the peat. I really like the oak. It's just that little licorice note that I'm not a huge fan of. Yeah, 7.5 on 10. Okay. So, that's all she wrote. Thanks for... wait a minute. We forgot the checklist. Okay, so how many of my little check boxes do we have checked off here? Okay, so we got a single malt. That's 1. Non-chill filtered. That's 2. It's 43%, which ain't 45, but it's a hell of a lot better than 40, so I'm going to give it the little check mark. There's no age statement, and one thing that it doesn't mention anywhere is whether or not there's caramel coloring, and if it doesn't mention it, I'm not going to give it the point, or the check mark. It's not really a point. So what, 3 on 5? That's pretty good. Tastes great, and it looks great, and I'm happy to have it. So, okay, now, for reals, that's all she wrote. Thanks for hanging out with me for this little whiskey review. I hope you enjoyed it and you found it useful. If you did enjoy it and find it useful, then let me know down below. Is this a whiskey that you know and love, or know and hate? Going by what I said, do you kind of want to try it? Have you tried it and you really don't like it? Do you find my notes are completely on or completely off? Also, what I'd like you to do is share the video, because that will help me massively. And the third thing I want you to do is leave me a smiley thumb. If you don't like what I'm doing, that's alright. Leave me a frowny thumb. Thanks for watching, guys.